Hey folks, and welcome to Drinking Alone with Friends, a podcast where three friends drink alone together. My name's Chris.
What up? It's Todd.
And I'm Obert.
Oh man.
And I think we'll just get the elephant out of the room. You do sound like crap to us this week. I don't know what it is.
Something a little bit off.
Yeah, everybody's been writing in about how bad Todd sounds all the time. And
yeah,
I don't know what it is. This week's just a little different.
Sorry, I couldn't stop from laughing. It just, you sounded fine up until like Jump Street, and then it was just not fine anymore.
Jump Street? What's Jump Street mean?
Like right from the beginning.
Is that what Jump Street is?
Yeah.
I always use right from Baltic Avenue because that's where you start in Monopoly.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird, Ted. You started sounding weird right after Chris started getting all sweaty and feeling like crap and having to lay down for 2 days.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it was really weird how you sound so bad after that.
Yeah, I thought so. I'm just wondering if I hope I don't spread whatever I have to the rest of you guys.
Well,
yeah, fortunately, we haven't perfected that sharing beers through internet yet. Otherwise, that would be a real concern.
I know. We'd have to. Luckily, we are almost as socially distant as we possibly can be. So
I know,
especially Obert.
Well, in all seriousness, though, thank you, Chris, for joining us recording today. You know, we said, Chris, take the week off. Me and Ted will do Drinking Alone with Friend this week, but Chris said the show stops for no man. I'm going to be on that podcast. You can't keep me off.
That's right. Yeah, I was like, they tried to. They blocked me on Discord.
Yep.
I made a fake account. Had to hack into their phone calls. Yeah, everything.
Yeah, all of a sudden we had two Tuds on the call, and it was kind of weird.
Yeah, it was like, which Tud is which, and like, you know. But yeah, no, I will tell you what. This was not the NFL CBA, but good God, I don't know what it was. I just felt like trash for like 3 days. It was awful, and even now. Clearly, I still am not 100%, but I am 100% enough to drink.
it could be COVID-21.
That's it. I'm Agent Zero or whatever.
Yeah, he's got the next COVID.
That's right. Whatever the sequel. It always skips a year.
Yeah.
Electric Boogaloo, COVID-19.
Oh God, that's a throwback for our longtime listeners.
Yeah, I know, sure. Right? Oh my goodness. But yeah, how you guys been doing? How have you guys? I haven't really talked to you guys much. I don't think.
No, I'm good. Thirsty. It snowed here today. It's return to weather is different in different places.
That sucks.
Just yeah, it's okay. It already all melted, so it's just one of those days. Yeah.
Nice.
Todd, how are you? Are you healthy? Do you have COVID-21?
No, I feel healthy. I think the soundboard has come down with COVID-21. Because
not again.
Yet again, it has not showed up for this week's episode.
Maybe I caught it from the soundboard.
Maybe.
Listeners, we are 38 minutes into our recording time. We've started this call 38 minutes ago, and here we are, just starting the podcast now. So
now I will point out. This is not out of the norm that we start 38 minutes or 30 minutes later. Sometimes it's me, sometimes it's you, sometimes it's Chris. It's very rarely Chris, but a lot of times it's me or Obert have technical issues, whether it be computers restart, internet doesn't work, Obert has to plug in his internet. They're giving me the look, people.
Okay, this pie chart is like. It's like a Pac-Man sized amount is Tud, and then
I have Pac-Man's mouth, and Chris has like the Pac-Man's eye.
Yeah.
Chris is the small dot in the middle of the pie chart. I'm the mouth. Tud is Pac-Man. But our listeners don't want to hear about technical issues; they want to hear about beer reviews.
That is true.
They do.
Yeah, and I'm going first this week. I think we've waited long enough for some of these beers. And with me going first, I have an exciting announcement. We talked about it while we were trying to get the technical issues resolved, and we're bringing back the pregame.
Yes.
Our loyal patrons, they've been deprived for long enough. We're bringing it back. So the reason I bring that up is because I have a couple beers today to look at, all from the same brewery. They are all from Mountains Walking out of Bozeman. I've had them on before. They are a really good up-and-coming brewer. in Montana.
That's a very scary image, by the way. Like, what if mountains could just get up and like walk away from you?
Who knows? Maybe they'd make good beer. I don't know. But I'm gonna let my co-host decide today which of these beers I'm gonna drink, and then we'll pick one for the pregame for next week.
Ooh.
So you guys decide. I have 2 from their sweets series and 1 from their dessert cart series. I don't really know why this had to be 2 different things. We have cookies and cream. That's just the name of the beer. We have sour ale with black currants and cheesecake. And then in parentheses it says, yes, really. And finally, sour ale with strawberry, blackberry, marshmallow, and lactose.
Ooh.
So is it going to be cookies and cream, blackcurrant cheesecake, or strawberry, blackberry, marshmallow, lactose? We're going to let the listeners decide between the remaining 2.
Oh, okay. All right.
Gotcha.
Which ones they want to see in the Discord.
I got you. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right. So the Discord's going to decide. And maybe Instagram. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? No one knows. All right. My vote is the cookies and cream.
My vote is the cheesecake because I really want to hear what a cheesecake beer tastes like.
Okay. Well, as the tiebreaker, I'm going to go with cheesecake because I'm just as curious on that one. Done.
Perfect.
You know.
Well,
Yeah.
that's fine. That's fine.
They all sounded pretty good, not going to lie, but we'll have our listeners decide between the cookies and cream and the strawberry, blackberry, marshmallow after polls we post on social media. But
Nice.
without further ado, this is, the sweet series from Mountains Walking, sour ale with black currants and cheesecake. Yes, really. This is kind of, they have this kind of abstract can art / what you would make in Paint on Windows 95 when you're bored and just like drawing lines and using the bucket to fill stuff in. Description.
Throwback.
What this looks like. Ooh, man, this is like bright red. Looks like I'm pouring red wine into this glass, except it's a little carbonated. All right. So on the nose, this is actually, I definitely get the black currants. I get the jammy sweetness for sure. That sour, and I don't know if it's just my mind playing tricks on me because cheesecake isn't a very powerful smell, but I definitely smell something that I think is cheesecake.
You smell?
Maybe it's just like a little lactosey.
Is it like funky cheese?
No. I mean, I don't think I've never had a cheesecake smell like funky cheese.
It's a blue cheesecake.
Yeah.
The mythical blue cheesecake.
No, that sounds disgusting.
It sounds really bad. I'm not a big cheesecake guy, but
I'm getting turned off just thinking about that. So let's not. I want good vibes before I drink this beer. So, but yeah, interesting nose taste for sure.
When you poured it and you said that, oh man, this is red. I thought like for some reason like fruit punch red, but it's very clearly like a dark red, like a blueberry blackberry mix red.
Right. Well, like I described it as a red wine. I think it's maybe even a little darker than a red wine.
Some would say it's the color of currants.
Yeah, you could say that.
I wouldn't. That's flabbergastedly.
All right, I'm going to dive in here. This is very complex. It's definitely get that lactose richness for sure on the palate.
Okay.
In terms of that silkiness is maybe the word I'm looking for. That I normally associate more with like a stout. It kind of has that creamier, silkier mouthfeel. That must be the cheesecake. And it's not really sour. It's actually pretty well balanced between the sweetness and the sourness. It's for how crazy this looks and how crazy it's described. It's actually pretty moderate flavor. I'm not going to say mild, but it's not like punching you in the face with blackcurrant.
Interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely lots of jammy qualities I was describing in the smell. Just like maybe like strawberry shortcake would be a good description, where I have the richness from the cake and the ice cream, but it's a lot of that berry sweetness that you would have in the topping. It's good though. I'm really enjoying this. It's only 6% ABV. For a sour ale, it's not too sour. If someone was like, oh, I don't like sours, I'd be like, trust me, this isn't like, on the sour scale, this is like below apple. This is like 1 on the sour scale.
So it's more
Nowhere near Granny Smith.
So it's more sweet than sour.
It's more sweet than sour for sure, but the sweetness is not like Hawaiian punch sweet. It's not like feel it in your filling sweet. That richness I was describing, the silkiness, it gives it a more rounded body that doesn't like really overwhelm you with a bunch of sugar, if that makes sense.
Yes.
I mean, if I was a diabetic, I would probably be reaching for some insulin right now because like I can tell there's a lot of sugar in here for sure, but it's not too much. Good dessert beer, with a beer named like Sweets. I'm glad I'm having this after dinner for sure. Beers this rich, I typically have a hard time drinking more than a pint, and that's about this too. It's like, I wouldn't want to have a full growler or crowler of one of these.
Right.
Overall, it's pretty good. I think this is a 3.75 from me. Flirting with 4, but I'm not feeling generous today, guys.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I like the beer, but it's not a 4. I've had Mountains Walking's Sweets, and some of the other ones I think are a little better. So
Now, are you a fan of black currants normally, though?
yeah, I mean, I don't
Are
like
they
the
like
seeds.
are they like a 3.75 on?
I don't know if I've
Yeah.
ever had a currant. I don't know.
Well, you better get back to that fruit aisle.
I know, right? You got to get to the produce.
I'm just trying
section.
to think of what it tastes like. I only have had currant beers, so like I'm trying to figure out like.
It's like isn't it like a sweet grape or something?
I don't know. Currants right in.
Currants right in. Fruit expert of the pod right in. Cool. Well, okay, so I have the Sweets right here on Untapped. The Sweets black currant cheesecake.
Okay.
And there's 453 check-ins, which I don't know if I was expecting less, but that's what I see. So what do you think those 453 check-ins average out to, say, out of 5?
I think they average out to a 4.04.
Okay, formidable guess, but you're definitely leaving some room there. A little bit more higher than that. They enjoyed it. 4.18.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah,
That's pretty high.
0.14. That is very
Yeah.
high. And honestly, when you were describing it, the first half of your review, I was like, oh, he's going 4.25 with this baby. Like, I don't know. For some reason, I had that vibe. I just had the 4.25 vibe from you, but then boom.
I was thinking about a 4, but I just had a higher expectations with like made with real cheesecake. Like, this is gonna be awesome.
Right.
I don't know. Like I said, I expect a lot from Mountains Walking. Definitely grading on a curve for sure.
I will say that
Okay.
I'm in the same camp as Chris. I really thought after your initial review that you were in that 4.25 camp. So I wonder if the listeners felt the same way too. I wonder if they're really shocked right now and like staring at their phone in disbelief by you rating this beer at 3.75.
Yeah. This is
Okay, you guys talked me into it. I'm giving it a 4.0. I'm giving it a 4.0.
No.
4.0 was my first thought, and then I'm like, maybe it's a 3.75.
I want this to be the moment of the episode where you find out like the good guy's the bad guy all along. It's like, oh my goodness, no.
Yeah.
That's how I want the listeners to feel. So listeners, if you felt that way, write in.
I bet you they did.
No, I think, like I said, I was grading it on a curve, and maybe that's not fair to Mountains Walking. Just because they're a great brewery and this beer's a little bit below what I know they can make doesn't mean I should dock them a quarter point for it. So
I mean, it's so easy to do. I mean, I think we all do it. So
yeah. At
Like,
the end of the day, what does it really matter?
right.
You guys
Well,
see where I'm at. I'm on the border. If this
It's the
was
difference between a 4.18 and a 4.17, maybe.
Yeah, if this was the hashtag Untapped Let's Get On This, it would be like a 3.9, and I rounded down
Right.
as opposed to rounding up.
Right.
So, leaving a lot of room for man of the people here. What am I at? 0.14? Was it?
0.14.
I guess 4.0. Okay, 0.14. Put it on the board.
Put it on the board.
Okay, I'm leaving it out there, and Todd, I think you made us wait so long that I have to let Chris go next.
Yeah.
His beer's cold though. Look at it. It's still in the fridge.
Listen, become a professional beer drinker like me, and you can have a beer fridge behind you at all times. It's awesome. It's great.
There's nothing
Anyways,
that says I can't have my beer fridge right here.
A big part of Man of the People is like who gets to do the handles first. But I think really the prize we all want is to be able to drink our beer first on the episode.
right?
That's really what it comes down to. But it's like then we have to keep track between week to week. I don't
Yeah,
know.
you can't bet on us for that. We can barely keep track during the episode.
Well, we do have a whiteboard now. The possibilities are endless.
That is true.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right, so guys, I am excited for this beer, and I'm also very nervous because, as you may or may not have been able to tell, I've been a little sick the last few days. I have not had issues with my flavor receptors in my mouth. So I'm hoping that there's nothing here because there is a lot going on in this beer. So this is called Uncommon Grind. It is cask-aged coffee bean IPA. All right. It's an unfiltered Imperial IPA, double IPA, brewed with apple brandy, barrel-aged coffee beans, and Green Bullet and Fantasia hops. There's so much happening.
Wow. Wait, Green Bullet and Fantasia? I've never heard of either of those hops.
Yeah, neither.
Me neither. Wow.
Who is this by?
So this is from Haw River Farmhouse Ales, who are out of Saxapahaw, North Carolina. That's the name. And it's in collaborations with Joe Van Gogh Coffee, which is so kind of a classic-y, nice looking can.
Yeah.
But there's a lot going on in that description. So let's see how it pours. This is one of the ones, again, I keep going back to that little coffee, that little bottle shop that I keep talking about. But hey, they had some good stuff. Ooh.
It sounds like you got to go back there, to be honest.
I do.
So while you're pouring that, let me quickly tell people what Green Bullet hops are. Another one of those famed New Zealand hops that were put together by the country's brewing association. After the blackroot rot decimated the hop plants in the country, this is one of those varieties that was produced thereafter. Originally called Brand 65382. It was released to commercial farming in 1972 and quickly made a name for itself among New Zealand brewers. It's got a high alpha acidic yield, and yet it's interesting aroma and flavor. So, it's supposed to be pretty interesting.
Nice.
A good hoppy hour. I like the conclusion. It's supposed to be pretty interesting.
The mini hoppy hour. Yeah, that's awesome. I guess New Zealand's like big on hops. I don't know if I knew that until getting into beer like I have.
Well, I think it's also a newer thing in North America that I think a lot of these hops that we've been seeing I haven't seen before 2018 or so.
So it poured like a really nice, like almost amber color.
Yeah, that doesn't look like an IPA.
No,
Wow.
It doesn't at all.
I was not expecting that.
No, it's really, really dark. It is unfiltered. It's very hazy. It does have a little bit of head there, which is still sticking around, which is kind of nice.
On the webcam, it looks like someone took 3/4 of an IPA and 1/4 of a black coffee and mixed them like an iced coffee and mixed them together, and that'd be like the color. Is that what it looks like in person too?
I mean, yeah, kind of. It's like super. I don't know. It's like, yeah, you can kind of. I don't know. If you hold it up to the light, you can kind of see that it's IPA-ish and not like an amber or something dark. But yeah, I think that's a pretty astute observation. Brain.exe has stopped.
I'm also impressed that when I look at it, the color of the head of the beer seems different than what it's much lighter than what I would expect a beer that dark to have for a color of a head. And I know this is a weird statement to make, but it just seems like a weird dichotomy, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, I mean, you're right. It's like a mix, because it's not like the white you get from like an IPA, but it's not like that tingy yellow. I don't know how else that you get off of like a stout or something like that. So I don't know. It's interesting. I could already tell. I mean, I might get a hint of apple off the smell. It is apple brandy that it is brewed with. Apple brandy. Oh, the coffee beans were in the apple brandy. Sorry, I'm all confused now. But I do get a little bit of that, like some of that sweetness. Not a lot of hop smell though. So I don't know. Let's see. Let's just dive in. Let's see what it's like. So, and I picked out my Bulbasaur glass because I thought it was going to look nice, but it doesn't look nice in this glass.
It'd be funny if he was like, you know what, guys? It tastes like water. I think my taste buds are gone.
Beer.
It's very interesting. I mean, I get a lot of hop bite. It's pretty bitter, which obviously, as we all know, I don't hate. I taste some of the 9.4% alcohol, which I didn't read earlier, so this is going to go very well with NyQuil later. I think it says it on the package. Just make sure you're taking it with NyQuil. It's kind of complex. Like, I don't get so much. I get some coffee, but it almost tastes like a barley wine. I don't know if it's the apple brandy that's doing it or the hint of apple brandy. I'm not 100% certain, but I get some very hold on, let me do one more because it's very complex. So I like it a lot, but it's definitely different. All right, that was a little bit easier of a swallow. it's like really, it hits you really sweet up front, and then it hits you with the bitter and the alcohol towards the back. And the sweet is more malty sweet than it is anything else. It's kind of weird. And then you get hit with the hops and you get hit with the alcohol, and I don't get a ton of coffee, maybe a hint of coffee. But I don't know what's causing it. It tastes like I haven't had a barley wine in a minute because they're always expensive. but it tastes like a barley wine, and I like barley wines. So, there's that.
Now, you say you get hit with the hops. Does it taste like an IPA with the hop profile?
Yes. So,
okay.
That's what I meant.
So a hoppy barley wine.
Yeah, it's weird. There's a lot going on. I feel like I'm doing like such a bad job, but like, but no, you could tell it's almost maybe like a black IPA, with more of those like caramel dark malts in there, which is
some of that crystal.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, this would be crystal malt. So she's sick. She can't make it to the podcast today.
Maybe that's where you got it from.
Yeah, that's true. I spent a lot of nights with her, so. Oh, damn, my wife listens to this podcast. No.
Sorry on the divorce.
But I mean, I know. Well. It's worth it. Crystal's worth it.
Crystal and Chris work together on night shift, though. That's what he meant.
Wow, this is really an interesting beer. I wish I bought more of it. I really like it. I think it's very good. Just the fact that it's so different, so interesting. Like, I don't know, I haven't really had anything like it before, especially with this IPA. I don't know what to say about it. It's really good though.
Well, it's like hops that you never had before.
Right.
So that's one thing going for it. And I mean, I can't remember the last time I heard on the show someone say, I wish I bought more of that beer. I mean, that's a testament to it being a good one,
Yeah, and I think I said that because I was like, I could send you guys a can because then you guys will kind of understand what I was getting at, because I'm like, I've had a lot of different beers, like some say a few thousand, and and the fact that like I can't really think of anything that compares to it. The closest thing is like maybe a black IPA and like maybe a barley wine, which again I haven't had. Like, I don't see those every day either. So, but it's very solid. I mean, really, really good. I think I'm going to be super high comparative to the rest. I think it's going to be high. I think I'm going to go really high though. I'm going to give this a 4.5.
Wow.
Yeah, I was it was probably like a 4.375, and I went up. You know what I mean? Like it's right there. I really like it. It's a beer made for me. I think I like barley wines and I like black IPAs. So the fact that it tastes kind of like however you want to splice it. But it's different, and I like that. I like that it's different and something else. So, good for you, Haw River. I haven't given a 4.5. Well, outside of the Drecker beers I polished off the other day, like I haven't given a 4.5 in a while. So, it's really good, really good. I do think I'm going to be high on Untapped. I don't think Untapped's going to be as high as I am. I'm going to say it's a 4. You know what? I'm going to guess a 4.18 because that's what Obert's beer was.
So it is over a 4. But it's not quite that high. It is a 4.07.
Oh, damn. Okay. So 0.11. Okay.
Leaving it open for Tud.
Leaving it open. I know. Damn it.
I think with my beer, I think I'm going to be the man of the people.
Hey, maybe you'll be the first one to get it right.
Maybe.
We don't know. It could happen. I mean, if it was a random number, you'd have a 1 out of 500 chance. So
that's true. Maybe I should just start picking random numbers.
I think we worked out better for this at this point. I thought about at one point. I thought maybe just sticking with the same number every week, and then like it'll have to hit it eventually.
It's true.
Yeah, right.
So this week I brought a beer that I said that I would bring. I was out this weekend. I saw it and I bought it, and that is the OG, the original Heady Topper by
Heady Topper.
Oh,
The Alchemist.
Look at that. Now, none of us have reviewed this on this show before?
No.
Yeah, I know. I was actually thinking the same thing. I was like, it's surprising we haven't had that.
So nobody's done it. It's a beer that needs no introduction. But yet I will try.
Introduce it anyway.
I will try to give it the best introduction that I possibly can. It's an 8% ABV beer. Obviously, the can says drink from the can, drink from the can, drink from the can to the top. So therefore, I will be drinking this beer from a can. I will not be pouring it. I'm going to follow the directions as closely as humanly possible.
Even though I believe a hit podcast once said that was BS.
I believe a hit podcast did say that, but when the original tells you to do it, you just follow along with it. It's like when
Our introduction so far is we know the ABV and we know how you're going to drink it. Continue.
I guess if you live underneath a rock, you don't really know what this is. But it is an IPA brewed out of Stowe, Vermont by The Alchemist. The description on the back, I'm not going to read it because it is literally a half a can long. But basically the owner, John Kimmich, gives his overview of the beer. And in true Alchemist fashion, their slogan is on it. And everybody knows their slogan is "Don't be a D-bag, recycle this can." So
okay, so we know the ABV, we know how you're going to drink it. You decided to not read the description of the actual flavor, but we know you're going to recycle it.
There is no.
This is quite the introduction to this beer so far.
Okay, fine. You know what, Obert, you seem to really want me to read, so ready?
I love it. I love it when you read on the podcast. It's my favorite.
Story time with Tud. Heady Topper in his American Double IPA. This beer is not intended to be the biggest or most bitter. It is meant to give you wave after wave of hoppy goodness. Tremendous amounts of American hops will creep up on you and leave you with a dense hoppy finish in your mouth. It's so drinkable, it's scary. Sometimes I wish I could crawl right into the can. Freshness and control have always been my main concern when it comes to our beer. We are committed to providing you with an unfiltered and unpasteurized hop experience. Why do I recommend you drink it out of the can? Quite simply to ensure the delightful hop experience. The act of pouring it into a glass smells nice, but it releases the essential hop aromas that we have worked so hard to retain. If you must pour it into a glass, you may find that some of the hop resins have settled into the bottom. Leave them in the can while pouring. This beer is perishable, and at the best served when it's young, fresh, and hazy. Keep it cold, but not ice cold. Drink this beer immediately. We are always making more.
All right. Thank you for story time. I'm kind of sleepy now. That was a nice little bedtime story.
Yeah, time to go to bed. We might as well just end the podcast and call Man of the People now.
Listen, this is what happens when you bust my balls. You get me reading half a can on the podcast. But without further ado,
would you rather have beer or complete and utter contentment?
What kind of beer?
All right. So on the nose. It's weird because like all I want to do to describe it is say that it's Heady Topper. I mean, it smells exactly how you two both remember it. I mean, it is amazing.
Very, very bad.
Yeah, so terrible. It smells very citrusy, very fruity. Just a lot of those citra hops. I don't actually really know what hops are in Heady Topper. I'm sure that it's been discussed in this podcast. I'm drawing a blank, but I know it's citra hops. I don't know if it's anything else. Obert, do you have any insight into that?
No, and I think at one point they kind of kept it under wraps. People have made plenty of Heady Topper clones. There's a lot out there. But let's say I was living under a rock, and maybe I lived in Montana where we don't have Heady Topper. What you said it smells fruity. What kind of fruit smells you getting?
I'd say a lot of grapefruit, a lot of maybe a slight hint of orange, a slint, if you will, throwback to last week. But it's definitely very grapefruit smelling. It's just right on the nose, and it smells like fresh grapefruit. It's not like old grapefruit that's been sitting out for a while. This smells like a fresh beer, and I happen to know that
it's like, ow, what just hit me on the head? Oh, that's a grapefruit that fell from a tree.
Correct.
And I smell it in this beer.
Correct. And I will say that I happen to know this beer is extremely fresh as well. Manchester Wine and Liquors got this shipment in on Saturday, and I was there on Saturday, so I got it the first day they had it.
And here we are 2 days later, and you're drinking it.
Correct. Doing it fresh,
That's
as
awesome.
the can says. Let's dive in, because I can't wait anymore. It's probably been 3 years since I've had a Heady Topper, so.
Really? I was going to say, when I was in Connecticut, we had Focal Bangers.
Yeah, not a Heady Topper then.
That is true. Not a Heady Topper.
So on the flavor profile part of this, it's what I remember. It's grapefruity. It's super bitter. It's super fresh. It tastes like I'm drinking a combination of grapefruit juice and grapefruit rind at the same time. It's got that bitterness from what a grapefruit rind or an orange rind would taste like, but then it's got that nice, awesome citrus flavor of a grapefruit. It's really the only flavor I get. It's the only flavor I've ever really gotten from a Heady Topper is just straight grapefruit and then a lot of hop bitterness in the back end. I think most people who have had it, these two included, would agree with that. There's not many other flavors on a Heady Topper. It's just awesomeness in a can.
See, I don't know. Maybe I definitely get some of the grapefruit that you're talking about. I used to get a lot more pine, though. I don't know if it's just me, though.
Yeah. No,
like
it's not just you.
Okay, like earthier pine kind of stuff, too.
I
definitely get the citrus.
I get that bitterness. I don't get that pine. Am I missing something? Do I have the Rona?
I don't know. Maybe the bitterness that you're talking about is the pininess that I pick up. I don't know. It is a bitter beer. Don't get me wrong. But I think we may have talked about this in person once too. But I definitely I've heard you say a million times that it's very grapefruity, and I'm like, there's some grapefruit, but it's not all grapefruit. It's more complex than just grapefruit. But I don't know. Maybe that's why it's amazing. Some people drink it and they think it's a coffee stout, you know?
I've always said I get a little bit of bubble gummy, just a hint of the aroma of bubble gum. Like when you were to unwrap a thing of double bubble, I get a little bit of that.
No, I don't get any of that.
That's fair.
Like I said, it tastes like if I were to take, I imagine, I've never done this, but if I were to go to the grocery store, pick up right off the shelf a grapefruit and bite directly into it. Don't peel it, don't do anything. Just like an apple. That's what I imagine that this tastes like.
The new $25 Patreon tier, in addition to Chris drinking your chelada, Todd will eat grapefruit
like an
in
apple.
its entirety, like an apple. And tell us how it compares to a Heady Topper.
With this, we're almost there to somebody may spend this money just to make us both do this on an episode. No, but that's what I taste. I guess there's some pininess to it, but when I think of pine, I think of more like a Sierra Nevada torpedo. It's very piney, very bitter. And this definitely has bitter characteristics to it. But I don't get the pine. And that's weird because I'm the master of picking up flavors and I don't get it.
Well, now I'm questioning Todd's mastery. But no, in all seriousness, I think one thing that's important to point out to our listeners is that Heady Topper is basically the grandfather of New England IPAs. They were the first ones to create it, and since their invention of New England IPAs, they've shifted further and further into the citrusy floral side of things, and further away from that piney bitter side of things. And I think Heady Topper, being one of the OG New England IPAs, has more bitterness than most New England IPAs you find on the shelf today.
Right. And I also think that's why Focal Banger, which is the younger brother, I think it's safe to say, of Heady Topper, is often higher regarded only because it is probably more aligned with what a New England IPA is versus Heady Topper. It's more of a IPA / New England IPA hybrid. It's just starting to evolve into a New England IPA. So that's the word.
I will say that there's a good chance that there is a Focal Banger in my fridge too.
Nice. Focal Banger's solid stuff.
Would you agree with that, Todd, about it being a little bit more bitter than most New England IPAs?
Oh yeah, definitely. It is. It's definitely not what you would what we consider and what the listeners consider a New England IPA is not what Heady Topper is. I know that it's supposedly the original. But it's not. It's
not supposedly. It is.
Yeah, but it isn't anymore. That's the thing, is that it's on the scale of beers. If you gave this to a non-beer person who was just getting into beers and they had no idea about any of the styles, if you gave them this and a Julius, for example, which is at this point in time probably the most recognizable New England IPA that exists of what I'm talking about, they would say these are not the same style of beer. One is 100% like fruit juice. This and one is more like a beer. I guess that's.
And remind me, which one of those is the ones that you described exactly like grapefruit?
That's true. But you know what I mean.
Tell the listeners. Tell the listeners what you mean.
Well, like a New England IPA, today's definition of a New England IPA is something that's super hazy and tastes a lot like orange juice. That's if think about Julius, that's exactly what it tastes like. This is more of a beer drinker's New England IPA, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I think that's why people like it so much, is because it does a really good job of balancing that hop bitterness with the floral elements and the juicy elements.
Ooh, that last sip was fantastic. I love this beer. This is one of my favorite beers of all time.
So on a scale of 0 to 5, how much do you love it?
Well, so let's say I was grading on a scale from 0 to 5 where you rate in quarter increments. I would give this, I said I would never give a 5, so I can't give a 5, but I would give this a 4.75. It's still perfect. This beer's amazing. It is what it is.
Okay. Now, I don't know how I feel about awarding honks and tally marks to a beer we've discussed the average of on the show before.
Yeah, I had the same thought, but I guess we can see how close he gets from memory.
This is true. It's high. I know it's very high. I'm gonna dare to say that. So like a couple weeks ago, like I had like a 4.4 something, a 4.46 is what I think it was. I think this is gonna beat it. So, does it eclipse the 4.6 mark? I'm gonna say it does not. So I'm going to go 4.57.
He's close. He's very close.
He's very close.
It's a 4.55.
4.55, yeah.
Damn it!
241,000 check-ins.
I thought about
That's a lot of check-ins.
4.55, but I was like, that seems too that seems too much of like a easy increment to guess.
Right. Mm-hmm. But then you take out the handicap of the fact that we've talked about this on the podcast before, of 0.1, and so it's 0.12, which means you're in second place, fortunately. Oh man.
No, I think I think Tud earned it. I think maybe I'll have to start
going too easy on him. Going too easy on him. Give him a very short.
Well, let's put the tally on the board here.
Put a very short tally on there.
It's gonna be like a dot.
Yeah, okay, very small with the asterisk. Okay, I like
asterisk.
Yes. A beer we've openly talked about. I think Tud knew what it was, but he was like, I can't guess it exactly. They're gonna know. And then he's like 4.57.
Because the guy who can't remember how to get the soundboard working can remember what a beer is ranked.
You hold beer much closer to your heart than the soundboard. Let's face it.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Touche.
And so while I have it up on tap, it does say here that it's a proprietary blend of 6 hops. So I don't know. We don't know the hop profile.
I can tell you Citra is 100% in it.
It actually says a blend of 6 hops, but definitely not Citra. 100% not Citra.
It says that too. Yeah.
No, I looked up a clone, and I didn't keep it up because I was looking for the original, but it did say Amarillo, Simcoe, Citra were all in it. So I mean, I'm sure it's like I'm sure one of the clones has it pretty close, if not right. I don't know. I have no idea.
The other thing they say in the review here is see what hop flavors you can pick out: orange, tropical fruit, pink grapefruit, pine, spice. So pink grapefruit high up on the list.
Spice.
Pine
was higher. You're right.
Spice and tropical fruit are both like pretty big flavor categories. But
I will tell you this. If you go back to when this beer was first brewed, you can probably figure out pretty closely what hops are in it. Given that the sheer amount of hops that are used today for New England IPAs, you can probably go back to what was popular then and probably put your finger pretty much on the pulse, now knowing what New England IPAs consist of.
I don't think it's that easy. I think if it was that easy to recreate, Heady Topper wouldn't be the sensation it was at the time, where literally it would sell out within minutes of being on store shelves. Like, I don't know if we've talked about this on the podcast before, but 5-10 years ago, Heady Topper would sell out within 15 minutes of being stocked in stores. People would follow the trucks.
I've followed a truck before of Heady Topper. I've done it.
Yeah.
And I'd regret nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely gone up to Vermont and like just went to multiple different stores and bought whatever allotment they would let me buy and brought home like 2 cases of Heady Topper before.
Yeah, it was not uncommon to see establishments like little tiny gas station grocery marts with a sign on their door saying like, no Heady Topper today. Or like, like Heady Topper limit 4 cans per customer, you know?
Yeah, it was definitely like a white whale of a beer for a while. And then now you can get it anywhere. Well, you can get it anywhere.
Now you can get it in Connecticut.
Yeah, you can get it in Connecticut.
Now, I will tell you this.
News we talked about it previously.
Trying to find this in Connecticut, I get the same sense that I got 6-7 years ago when I first got into craft beer, where I kind of like that like thrill of the hunt to have to go to like different stores and be like, do you have Heady Topper? Do you have Heady Topper? Do you have Heady Topper? No?
Yeah, you told us that you bought it the day they had it, and who knows? I bet you they were sold out by Sunday. You know.
And I will tell you this: they were limiting it too. So it was you got 2 cans of Heady Topper and you got 2 cans of Focal Banger, and that was it. That was all you were allowed to have. And so I was like, I was like, oh cool, I bought I got my 4 beers. I walked to the front of the store. I was so happy. And then I spent $32 on a mixed 6-pack. And
yeah, it's crazy. That's awesome. Yeah. Oh man, I wish there was stuff like that. Like there's just a few beers that I wish would distribute down here, or Southern Grist. Like either one, I would take either. Like come on, Southern Grist, you're right there. Like just send it my way. Southern Grist, if you're listening and you opened up deliveries to North Carolina, I would guarantee you at least $200 a month. Like come on now, like come on.
That's worth it, right? That pays for the whole building.
That's it. That's right.
Well, speaking of that, we discussed previously this week that Burial is coming to Charlotte.
Yes, this was the big news I was so excited about. Burial announced that they bought a building in Charlotte, and they're going to be opening a brewery. So there we go. Just add it to the list. I'm so excited. I mean, Burial is amazing, but it's an hour and a half away. So it's like the fact it's only going to be 45 minutes away is a problem. Oh, man.
It's been too long since you've been to Asheville, I think.
Oh, I know. Oh, my God.
It's not Loudville.
Your bachelor party.
As someone who would pay for your gas to go to Asheville to get me beer, it's been too long.
No, I know. I'm so excited. I mean, we all know Burial's top class, top tier brewery in like wherever the world, I guess. So the fact that they're going to be only 45 minutes away is amazing. So excited. And plus, there's a bunch of other great breweries in Charlotte that I haven't been to yet. So,
well, once they open up, you got to have a beer of theirs on the pod to celebrate and to announce their opening. So we're all excitedly looking forward to that.
Oh, but
you'll hear here first, probably.
I think more importantly is that once they open up, he has to ship us beer from Burial.
Well, yeah, that's a given too, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I have to go there anyway, so might as well pick up some extra ones and then keep it in my house for 6 months and then ship it to you, as is tradition.
That is
our favorite tradition here on the show.
That's the tradition of beer.
Yeah, that's super exciting. I mean, Burial's one of the few breweries I've been to where I'm like, this is on par with everything that's in New England. There's nothing bad about that brewery at all, in the least, except for the prices. How my wallet feels after leaving is the bad part.
Yeah, they are pricey. They are pricey, but so is everything is pricey.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
all expensive. Beer's a bad hobby to get into, kids. Kids, if you're listening, why? But no, I mean it's one of those things though. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I love New England beers and I love New England places, but like the more I have like really awesome breweries down here, I'm like, no, there's great beer everywhere. There's good beer everywhere. It's just you have to find it. And down here, there's like a million breweries versus like only 100 in Connecticut, which is pretty amazing for such a small state. But still, I don't know. It's there's a lot of breweries that I've had down here that are really, really good.
Yeah, North Carolina is definitely no slouch in terms of beer states, for sure.
Nope.
I think if there was a way I could mix a honk sound with a whoopee cushion noise, I would for this week. But I don't have the technology. I'm not that good at Foley work. So Tud, honk, 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 man of the people this week.
MOTP.
Back in the lead. I will say that. He's on the board with 2 very legitimate tally marks and a third other tally mark on the board.
It's like Barry Bonds, baby.
That's right.
Still the home run leader.
That's true.
Yeah. So Tud's man of the people, and you know what that means. It's time for our 3 handles on our Frosty Mug of Wisdom segment, where we take our Frosty mug out of the freezer, we fill it with wisdomy wisdom, give you advice on things to consume, enjoy, spend your time and or money on, and we lead it in every week with this song. Jordan, take it away.
Test your handle. Test your handle. Test your handle. Test your handle. Mug of Wisdom!
Drink.
Mug of Wisdom!
All right, Jordan, thank you. Check him out. Rec My Podcast. As always, we're still looking to hear back, Jordan, about that Mortal Kombat appearance.
Oh yeah.
That is true.
I forgot about that. Yes, Jordan. Listen.
I don't know if he listens to the fade out, the outro.
Ooh,
but,
that's true. That's true. Yeah, the
only
gauntlet
our
had
real
been
fans.
thrown out. So
Yeah, I'm still waiting. I feel like he's afraid of the Tud.
But Todd, as man of the people this week, who's up first here?
So you know what?
We got going on?
I understand there's some controversy about me being MOPT. MOTP, sorry. MOPT.
man of people, though.
I understand
Man
some
of people, Todd.
Yes.
Mopta.
I understand there's some controversy. So, you know what? I'm going to graciously go first.
Okay. All right.
take-
Unprecedented move by man of the people.
I'll take my lick, my little asterisk, and I'm just going to roll with it in style. So my handle this week is actually another podcast that people should listen to. It comes out once a week. But the reason I bring this up is because it was, as a child, one of my favorite TV shows to watch, and now it's a podcast. So I felt the need to bring it because I can make a 2-for-1 here, and that is Unsolved Mysteries. You guys, judging by your reaction, neither one of you know what that is. So,
I know of the old TV show. I didn't know it was a podcast.
Based on the title, I think I could. That was a mystery I was able to solve.
yeah, so Unsolved Mysteries, for those of you who don't know, was a TV show that I think was on, like, Lifetime or something way back in the day. At least that's where I watched the reruns, I think. And it was just about, like, creepy stories. It kind of reminded me of, like a more adult version of Are You Afraid of the Dark? Which we've all discussed here before. It was my favorite, like, Nick at Night TV show, like, on Fridays, when that was out. So anyways, Unsolved Mysteries... So,
your favorite Snick show.
yeah. Oh, yeah, that was the word, Snick.
Oh, Snick. That's right.
Yeah, that was the Saturday night Nickelodeon.
There you go.
Yeah.
So,
Nick at Night was like I Love Lucy all the time.
Oh, that's right. I wonder if they still do Nick at Night. Anyways.
I think they do. I think I do, but I think it's like very, very depressingly like Friends. Like,
Oh.
I really think it is.
That's how our parents felt when, like, they were our age and we were watching I Love Lucy.
Exactly. Yes. Kids, right in.
Again, don't drink if you're not 21.
Correct.
Yeah. Also that.
Why are you listening to the podcast?
So, Unsolved Mysteries was a TV show about, surprise, surprise, unsolved mysteries. So, it went off the air. I think you can now watch it on, like, streaming devices, and I think I heard a rumor that it's coming back on some streaming device as, like, a new series, which doesn't surprise me. I mean, it's they do all, like, the actors not really in a real situation, and they kind of play out what happened, and it's just a cool TV show. But the podcast is just like the true crime podcast that people know and love, where they interview the people that the supposed unsolved mystery happens to, and then they tell, like, the story around it. And it's only been out for, I think, like 3 or 4 weeks, and it's released every Wednesday, so there's only like 3 or 4 episodes to check out. It does not coincide with our podcast, so you can listen to both. People who can only listen to one podcast per day. So go check that out, subscribe, and listen to that as well. But yeah, that's my handle. Unsolved Mysteries, both the TV show and the podcast.
So let me get this straight. So the podcast is really taking a look at individual episodes of the show, kind of interviewing the people
No.
that the episode of the show was about.
2 of the episodes so far have been based in, like, the 90s. So would it surprise me if there was a TV show episode about them? It wouldn't surprise me at all. But 2 of the other ones were from, like, stories after, like, 2006, which is well after the show went off the air.
Okay, so it's new unsolved mysteries.
Yeah.
That not necessarily on the show.
It's probably whatever
gotcha.
makes the best audio as far as Unsolved Mysteries, but some of them are newer, so you get a little bit more, like, into it. And, like, so last week, I'm not going to try to give away any hints here, but it seems like they have a cool idea where they're going to do like multi-part episodes. So last week's episode leads into this week's episode, which is pretty cool.
Nice. And like you said, it's a new podcast, so sounds like they're still kind of experimenting with releasing the format. So, but if you aren't someone who doesn't like a huge backlog, you like to stay current, check out Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah, and they're good. They're like 30-minute, 20-minute episodes. Like they're quick. You can fly through them.
All right, so who's going now?
I'm going to go from here. I'm going to give it to Chris, then Obert.
Well, I mean, that kind of makes sense if you gave it to me next, By the way, current programming on Nick at Night: Full House, Friends, Mom, and Young Sheldon. So there you go.
Young Sheldon, isn't that
Friends
still on
was
the air?
on there. Yeah, I have no idea. Listen, I don't know how Nick at Night works.
And what is Mom?
I'm reading. I have no idea. Normally, it's the person that gave birth to you, but
You gotta watch Nick at Night to find out.
Yeah, watch Nick at Night. Tune into Nick at Night.
Huh.
Chris is like, my handle this week is the programming lineup for Nick at Night.
That is my programming lineup.
You guys know the show Mom? If so, tell me about it so I can make it my handle.
So Mom is still on the air. Interesting.
Yeah, I didn't know Nick at Night did like actual TV shows that were still on. I thought they were old shows, but Friends is old, yes. But anywho, all right. So in my fever state the last few nights, I have spent my time on Hulu, and I have actually rewatched some movies that I haven't watched in a long time. Yes.
Oh, I was worried this was going to be a new content.
No. It's old content. Old content.
No longer having a heart attack anymore. I thought you would honestly watch something new for once in your life.
It was really, I don't know why. I was like, you know what? I like all three movies are available, and yes, I have watched them all now in the last 48 hours. But like all three movies are available. I haven't watched them in 20 years, maybe. I don't even know. Like maybe a little bit, 15, 20 years. It's been a long time. And I just felt like it was time. I felt like it was time. And I wasn't disappointed. So I enjoyed rewatching them. And that is the Austin Powers films.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't know when the last time you watched these movies were.
I like that little lead-in where like we had no idea what the hell you were talking about.
No, I know. And, I wasn't going to use it originally, but I was like, you know what? I watched them just the other day. And there's some of the big moments you remember. But then there's a lot of things I didn't pick up on when I was in my mid-teens or whatever, or early teens or whatever the frig. They came out in 97. So I didn't watch them right away when mind you, I didn't watch them when I was 9, but still. But they're pretty funny still. I mean, very corny. The fact that, he's this I don't know, this ladies man, even though he's I think what people don't think a ladies man is. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I think
ladies
that's part
write
of the joke, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's little things inside the movies where it's he blows up the fembots because he's so sexy and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, I didn't even pick up on that when I was younger. So I don't know. Maybe it was the fever dreams. Maybe it was whatever. But I really got a kick out of watching them the last few nights, and it helped pass some hours of time as I'm sitting there not being able to sleep. So, if you haven't watched those movies in a while, don't get me wrong, they don't age great. They don't there's some stuff in there you probably shouldn't talk about in 2021, but there's definitely a lot of really good jokes in there. The Who Does Number 2 Work For? Come on now, that's beautiful.
Classic.
That's classic. You can't not be happy about that. So if you have the chance, they're on Hulu. You can watch them for free. I watched all three of them. I mean, they get progressively worse, but they're all still well worth a watch. So check them out if you haven't. They're old 90s comedies that are pretty funny.
The whole idea is right. It's a spoof of James Bond, and it's what if a guy from the 60s was thrown 3 decades into the future in the 90s and all of a sudden dropped in and had to fit into this culture? Well, guess what? It's been 3 decades since the 90s. So it's we as much time. We're now in the decade that if an Austin Powers movie was made now, they would be a secret agent from the 90s would have come.
I didn't even think about that, but you are 100% correct. Yes.
Obert is the man of this podcast of telling people how old they are.
It's ridiculous.
He's very good at it.
I mean, Austin Powers 1's 25 years old. It's not like it came out yesterday.
Yeah.
But anyways, check them out if you haven't. I mean, I'm sure everybody on Earth has seen them, but they were a fun rewatch, especially remembering them from my young teenhood or whenever it was. So check it out. Austin Powers, all three of them: International Man of Mystery, The Spy Who Shagged Me, and Goldmember. They're all on Hulu. So there you go.
And if you're a craft beer fan who's younger than the movie Austin Powers, listen to it and let us know what you think, or watch it and let us know what you think.
Also,
Seen it as a
Austin
man
Powers
in
would be,
or woman in your mid-20s.
Yeah, there you go. Austin Powers would be another good Wreck My Podcast. I wonder if we're gonna have to have a DAWF series crossover.
Jordan, if you've already reviewed Mortal Kombat, and that's the reason that you've been ducking us for the past week, Austin Powers is like, we could do that too.
I'm sure they must have done Austin Powers. They must have.
All three or just one? Or
I mean, the first two are the only ones really worth doing. The third one is kind of like, man, okay.
You don't like the third one when he runs around screaming he loves gold?
No, I mean, it's not bad. It's just the first two are better. It's it's the Back to the Future 3 of the trilogy. You know.
Yeah, I got
Jurassic Park 3. They're all the worst. The third ones. But anywho, Obert, you're last. What do you got for us today to fill up the rest of our Frosty mug?
I also have a piece of content sticking with the theme from the first two. Not a podcast, not a movie from 25 years ago, but an Amazon original show that I finally got around to watching. I have a love-hate relationship with Amazon Prime. I get Amazon Prime like a couple months a year, as opposed to sticking with it all year round. So when I do, I'm like, oh, okay, well, let me get on Prime Video and see what I got. So finally picking up the bandwagon here with the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Have you guys seen this show?
I've seen a few episodes.
No.
The premise of the show is it's kind of like a housewife in a Mad Men type situation where she's like a socialite in the 60s in Manhattan, and she, I won't spoil too much of the details, but she basically ends up deciding she wants to become a stand-up comic in the 60s in New York, and just the contrast between what the life of like a proper woman, high upper class woman in the 60s in New York versus like a raunchy stand-up comedian performing in the Village in lower Manhattan. It's pretty good, and it's a really funny show. I wouldn't normally, it's not something I think is up my alley, but it's good comedy gold. You'll recognize a lot of the actors in it. And it's a good cast. And I think a lot of Amazon's shows have been hit or miss for me. There's 3 seasons. I just finished season 1. I can only recommend that one so far, but I've heard from other people that the next 2 seasons are pretty good. So if you wanna catch up to me, watch Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. We could talk about it on the Discord. Yeah, it's a good show. It's a good Amazon show. Check it out.
I'll have to check it out. I've never watched it. I kind of have the same feeling with you about Amazon Prime Video, is that I have a very love-hate relationship with that streaming service, just because it seems to be hit or miss with the quality of their programming.
Yeah, and this one's a hit. I'll say that.
Yeah, I know. I think I watched the first few episodes, but I think Dana's watched. I think she continued watching it. It was pretty good. What I remember, I didn't end up finishing it, but that's kind of par for the course for me. So
right, it's too new.
Yeah. I need to wait about 20-ish years.
Yeah,
for me to
Wait till
really.
It's on Nick at Night.
Yeah, if it's on Nick at Night, then I'll watch. Actually, I've never watched Friends really either. So there's
or Mom. So.
Yeah. No, mom, I've definitely seen.
20 years from now, Chris's handle is going to be like the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Like, he's gonna be like, "Hey
I'm gonna
guys,
be like, oh man,
have you seen this?"
Yeah, episode 5,000 of the podcast.
Yeah, say episode 1130.
Hey, have you guys heard of Friends? I finally watched it, you guys. It's pretty funny.
I get why people were a fan of it in the 90s.
Yeah.
All right, so with that, we'd like to thank you all for listening. We'd like to thank the brewers who provided today's beers. I will go first and thank the Alchemist for the OG, the man, the myth, the legend, Heady Topper.
I would like to thank Haw River Farmhouse Ales for their Uncommon Grind cask-aged coffee bean IPA.
And I want to thank Mountains Walking for their Sweet Series sour ale with black currants and cheesecake.
Please make sure you head over to all social media and follow us at DAWF Podcast. That's Twitter, Facebook, Untapped, Instagram, and everywhere else that has social media. Also, make sure you follow us, or hashtag follow the email at dawfpodcast@gmail.com. Make sure you send us everything over there that you can't drop in our Discord. And speaking of Discord, please make sure you head over to Discord to join the live real-time chat with the three of us and other listeners who decided to join over there. Also, make sure you head over to Patreon and subscribe. As Obert mentioned at the beginning of this episode, he will be doing the pregame episode next week and reviewing a beer that you should head over to Discord and vote on, or Instagram, depending on where we post it. So you know what? Follow us at both anyways. Also, please make sure you're telling your friends, your family, everybody you know, and also making sure you're heading over to iTunes and the Google Play Store or wherever you can rate a podcast and leave us a 5-star rating and a review. It's the best way for you to help us out if you don't want to join the Patreon and but you're looking to help us out in any way possible. It really helps new people find us that way.
Real quick before we close out the show, it's that time of year again, a little delayed, but it's our return to Mr. Oscar, which
the crowd goes wild.
Right?
If we had a soundboard, it'd be so good.
Which we're announcing now. We will have the categories to vote on and for nominations coming up next week. We're always looking for good nominations, and then we'll be voting the week after that for our annual Mr. Oscar celebration. I think I don't know about you guys, it's my favorite time of the year when we get to do this.
I mean, award season is the season, and the celebrities, they obviously the NFL CBA has really impacted the world, but they've been reaching out, asking when they can get their Han Solo frozen in carbonite. They're all very excited for it. They were like, is it going to happen this year? They were like, we thought that if one thing could come through the NFL CBA, it was Mr. Oscar 2021.
Yeah, we would not want it to.
We can't let them down.
I've got my tuxedo ready with my cummerbund. I'm ready to go.
Yeah. Isn't there also like a really long red carpet, miles and miles long?
Oh yeah, it's massive.
Yes.
It takes multiple days to walk down.
Yes,
So we're not unrolling it yet, but I'm going to the storage unit this week and getting it, so we can start unrolling it next week.
I forgot about the red carpet. Oh man. And also we have a very special guest that's going to be joining us next week. A good friend of mine, another streamer, Kiwi Kadota, a Kiwi for short. But she will be joining us next week, so look forward to that. We were going to have her on this week, but I came down with the death, so we pushed her out a week. But she works in the beer industry, and she's going to come and talk to us about beer, and she's a big nerd like me, so we're going to talk about all that fun stuff too. So that's going to be a lot of fun. It's some really big things coming up the next few weeks.
And so with that, thank you all for listening. My name's Todd.
My name's Chris.
And I'm Obert. And remember, if you're drinking alone, do it with friends.
I feel like I have to go listen to that episode now. I completely forgot about the red carpet.
Oh, how could you? I still got the keys here. I got to go down to that storage unit right now and get a forklift so I can load up the red carpet.
Remember last year we tried to see who could run it the fastest, and we just all died in the middle of it?
Yep. I remember that. Yep. Oh, man. So funny. Yeah, I can't wait to... I don't know. I'm not sure. What the... I'm excited. Should we new categories? Oh, man. Are there going to be new categories? Are there going to be more guest presenters? Oh, my goodness. There's so much stuff. So much stuff.